All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. H is going to run through this preview. Now remember, you have your notes to use as you go. I'm not going to reference them everywhere as we go. I'm just going to tell you you want them updated, because if you do, and you're doing what we're doing here in the preview, you're going to be in good shape. So, okay, let's rock and roll. Solve each system by graphing. Okay, and I'll tell you too, the quiz is going to be a little bit shorter than this. So there's one other thing to play with. Fortunate for us in this first one, they're both in y equals already. So reminder, that number on the end is always my y-intercept. That's always what I'm going to do first. So that's at 4. Second is going to be my slope, that number in front of x. And if it's a whole number, make it a fraction. You've got in your notes, this is up, down, this is left, right. So I'm not writing all that out here. You need to put in some of that work and look that up if you're not sure. So we're going to be going down 2, and we're going to be going right 1. And I'm going to make as many dots as I can, down 2 and right 1, down 2 and right 1, down 2 and right 1, because one of those 5 dots, if I have graphed this correctly, is the answer, and I just need to see where the blue line is going to cross it. Y-intercept. And again, nice thing about a video, you can pause me if you need to on something. That's cool. 2/3. We're going up 2. We're going right 3. Bingo. Up 2, just for fun. Right 3. There's the answer. Don't just circle it. Don't do it. My x is 3. So I started at 0. I went to the right 3, and then I went down 1, 2. Bam. Okay, so for any of these, that's what we're going to do. The one exception is if I have x or y equals. So quick reminder here, y equals is going to be a horizontal line. If you happen to get just an x equals sometime, that's going to be vertical. So I'm going to go to where y is -4. I'm going to put a dot. Put a horizontal line. Second one, I'm going to go to -3. I'm going to put a dot. Hardy, there's no number there. It's -1 over 1. Down 1. Right 1. Now, I got fortunate that I ran into the red line right away. But if I wouldn't have, if it would have been up here in the top somewhere, remember, you can switch the signs of both numbers. And then I'd be going up 1 and left 1. And I could have done that and gone on if I needed to. So there's the magic point. To get there, on the x-axis, oops, I only went over 1. And down 1, 2, 3, 4. Bam. Rolling. Now, these last two, not as nice. Not as nice because they're not in y equals yet. But here's the good news. Each of these pairs of equations has at least one of them where you can probably get to y fairly quickly. This one's going to be easier. This one we got to do a little more work, but that's okay. So here, if I want to get my y by itself, my first job would be to subtract x over. So we're going to minus a 1x to each side. And then to get y alone, we're going to divide both sides by 2. And yes, you can get some fraction stuff. And that's okay. Same thing here. Got to subtract the x over again. So we got a -1x that moved over to the other side. And we're going to divide everything by -4. I'll actually show that step this time. Negative divided by negative, it's positive. And I've got my second line. Now it's just like the first two. I just had to do a little extra work. So +1 for my y-intercept. Again, if it's negative, it's only one of the numbers. I usually put it on the top one. So down 1 and right 2. Down 1 and right 2. And if I run out of room, especially on the first one, again, we can change that and go up 1 and left 2. Up 1 and left 2. So the more dots we got, the better off we are. And then the same here. -2. Up 1. Right 1, 2, 3, 4. Bingo. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. 1 down. And we're going to do that exact same thing here. Again, the second one is easier than the first, but that's okay. If you don't see coefficients, we can always put a 1 in front. There's what I need alone first. So we got to do the opposite of this positive 1x, so we got to subtract it to the other side. And then we got to divide everything by -2. I get my first one. Whoop, I'm off the screen. Down here, much easier. Y is already by itself except for minusing the 2x out of there. So this one is going to go much quicker. We're good there. Graph time. Not a lot to say at this point because we've seen this quite a bit already. So I'm just going to go ahead and graph these. You can kind of watch to see where everything I'm doing is coming from. 2, right, 1, bingo, right there, 2 to the right, 1, 2 down, and I'm set. So if you've got some sort of a grip on graphing your lines, that's cool. If you don't, I'll even go this far. As long as you are in y equals, one more hint. You can go to y equals on your calculator. Let's say this one. -2x plus 2. If you hit for the table, which is second and graph, check this out. There's 0, 2. There's 1, 0. There's 2, -2. And I could keep going with that. So if that's a trouble point for you, type it in the calculator and get your points to make your lines, and then you can see where they cross. Okay, solve by elimination. Always look first to see if you can add down and get rid of a variable. Because if you can, that is much easier to deal with. But remember, there's 2 variables. So if there's 2 variables, you have to plug it back into either one of the originals to get that second answer. So I'm just going to use the bottom one here. And I'm going to start writing this until I get to the variable that I'm substituting for, that I already know the value of. I'm going to plug that in. And now I got to solve this little equation. I got to minus my 14 over and divide by -2. And I'll say it again, I'm fine if you just leave it that way. I mean, would I prefer a coordinate point? Sure. But as long as I get this, that's what matters to me. And so the same thing happens on the next one. The y's go bye-bye. I solve for x. And then again, you can pick or choose which equation you use up at the top. It doesn't matter. The top one looks a little easier to me. So that's the one I'm rolling with. I know what x is, so we're going to plug that in. And we're going to solve what we have left. Again, add my 8 over. Get to my answer. This stuff is all 1 and 2 step, algebra 1 stuff. So I'm not going to take the time to go back and forth and back and forth. Once we're set up, you should be good. But am I going to get this fortunate every time? No. No, I'm not. Sometimes I'm going to go, and I'm going to go to do this, and I'm going to be like, well, those add up, they don't cancel. What happens? What do I do here? So this is one where you've got to multiply one or both equations. It depends. I look at 2, I'm like, can I multiply 2 by something to get 3? I'm like, no. Can I multiply 2 by something to get 6? Yes. I could multiply that by 3, and I mean the whole equation by 3. And the reason I do that is now if I leave the top one alone, I can add down the y's cancel out. And no, it doesn't have to be the y's every time. It can be the x's as well. But again, fairly quickly, I get to an answer. And then again, it's totally your call on which equation you use to plug back in. I'm just going to use the top one because I messed with this one some. We're substituting for x. And I do my thing. Hardy, how do you do this so quick? So just because you're old and you've done this forever? Kind of, but at the same time, I've seen repetition with it. For those of you that the minute I get done with the examples, you pack up and are done and are staring at your weapon of mass distraction or talking or doing whatever, you're not getting this, so you're not getting it. So the best advice I can give is practice it. It will make you better. Okay. Add down, nope. Add down, nope. This time something to get this? Absolutely. Now, here's the kicker on this one, though. It's true that 2 times 10 is 20. That's good. But we need them to be opposites, a positive and a negative. So since this is already positive, I'm going to make this negative. Because that's the only way this canceling is going to work. This time the x's go bye-bye. And divide by -3. Step 1, boom. Again, pick your equation. It don't matter which one. But this time we're not substituting for x. Oh no, this time we're substituting for y. Starting to wonder, you're like, Hardy, is this one coming out weird? Nope, we're going to add 81 to both sides. We're going to divide. And we're in business. So you're like, okay, always check to add down first, because that'd be nice. If that doesn't work, I'm probably going to have to multiply one of the equations. That's true. But, you're like, dang, Hardy, why has there got to be a but? Why? Sometimes you're going to try and multiply one of these. You're going to say, hey, 4 times what is 18? Hardy, that's a decimal. Well, we don't want to do decimals, so don't do that. 6 times something I can't get to 27. That's a decimal, so now what the heck? Excuse me. This is where we look and we go, okay, we're just going to flip these lead coefficients. So I'm going to do 18 on the first one, and I'm going to do 4 on this one. You're like, well, wait, that's -4. Why aren't you doing that? Because again, remember, I need opposites. Positive times, this is going to be a negative already. I don't want this to be a negative as well. So this is a negative, this is a positive. This should work out well. So a little distributing action. Again, we're multiplying the 18 times each of these. Yes, the numbers are getting big. That's okay. We got calculators. We're good. Oh, this is going to get interesting. All right. So there go the x's. That's what was supposed to happen. Oh, wait a minute, though. 108 minus 108, that goes away too. That's kind of weird. And 72 minus 72 is 0. Uh-oh. What does that mean? Well, in this case, that's true. 0 does equal 0. Infinite solutions, all reals, something. You have to tell me something there, though. Don't just leave 0 equals 0. And if it's 0 equals any other number, it's no solution, because 0 equals any other number isn't true. So those are the types of things we have to be looking out for. And the last twist that can come at you, you're like, well, it's probably like this one, so let me get ready. Okay, Hardy, what? Switch the numbers. Okay. So 2, 2, and 3. Oh my gosh. Can you believe what I just did? Can you believe it? I actually can't believe it. 3, Hardy. 3. You said switch and then you didn't do it. And 2. But -6, -6, that's not good. One of them has to be a negative. It does not matter which one. Apologies for me speaking one way and then writing the other at the start of this problem. So that is a +3 that we are going to distribute. And this is a -2 that we are going to distribute. We actually get to do the problem this time. X's go bye-bye. -9y equals -36. Divide. We're not adding. That's not y plus 9, y minus 9. It's -9 times y. Divide both sides by -9. And then again, take your pick of equations here. I'm still going to roll with the top one. -2x minus 5y. 0. Add my 20 over. Divide by -2. That, ooh, I almost screwed up again. That is as complex as this gets. Okay? So even in a worst case scenario, you're just kind of making sure that your signs are lining up okay for you to start. So nothing too terrible. Okay, Hardy, are we almost there? We are. And we're only 16 minutes in and I've done every single one. So I mean, this is kind of cool. Okay, solve by substitution. Look for x equals or y equals. If you see them on these, find them right away and work with them. If not, we'll get to that. Because what I'm going to do is this says y equals, so I'm going to plug that in for y. And this says y equals. I'm going to plug it in. This says y equals. So my first step is I'm starting to write this problem. And when I get to the variable that I'm substituting in, I'm going to replace that in my equation. Everything else in this first equation stayed the same, except the y went out and the box went in. So that negative is just going to change signs on both of these. But now I got to watch it. Why do I have to watch it? Because the 6x and 2x are on the same side of an equal sign. You just put them together. You're not doing opposites. They're not on opposite sides. They're on the same team. And now I can do my thing and get to my solution. And then for me, I can plug it back into either, but this already says y equals. I like this one a lot better. So I got y equals -2x minus 1. I very quickly get my y. Substitution will go faster most times than elimination does. And so number 12 is just like number 11. We're going to plug in. We're going to start copying this until I get to the y. When I get to the y, I'm replacing that what's in the box. That's the substitution part. And then we don't want to forget the rest here. So a little more work on the distributing part this time. Notice I'm not adding these together. Okay, that's not 10x or anything. This is what goes with this. Same team, same side, just put them together. I need to write a little bit smaller here. Add my 78 over. Divide by -32. Okay. There's my easy equation, the one I boxed in originally. Y equals -6x minus 13. 12 minus 13 is -1. It looks like a lot when you're looking here, but really, it's one substitution in Algebra 1 and one substitution in Algebra 1. That's all we're doing. 13 is going to be the exact same thing. I'm going to go at hyperspeed on this one because this is like super close to number 11. So I'm basically just going to do it. So top equation, 3x minus, what's in the box? It's 8. Distribute by negative. Same team, same signs. Minus my 8. Divide by negative 5, still 0. Go back up here, find my y equals equation. Now I know what x is. 0 minus 8 is negative 8. 0, negative 8. Now again, I'm not expecting you to go as fast as I do. Okay? I am expecting, though, that you can run at a consistent rate. If you're not, again, it's because you haven't practiced. Now, the last two are a little special because you don't have an x or y equals right off the bat. So on these, we got to get a little creative. So here, I look at this one. This looks like it's easy to solve. If I want to get x alone, I'm just going to add y to both sides. So this is going to become x equals, I do a little plus y action, y plus 2, not 2y. And it's x equals this time, so we're going to plug in for x. We finally get to do something a little different here. So negative 7, solving for x, I'm substituting, excuse me, for x. So what's in the box goes in for x. Everything else stays the same. Once I get that one piece out of the way, man, these all work similar. Same side, same team. Add my 14 over. Solve it. Just like we did before, now that I've solved this, I got an easy one for x. X equals y plus 2. Y plus 2. Again, if you need to, pause me in areas, go back and listen to me again once you've written steps out so you can kind of see how this works. And 15 is going to do the exact same thing. 15, I get down here, I see a y. I'm going to solve for that. I'm going to minus 2x, minus 2x. Y equals negative 2x plus 0. That's what I'm plugging in for y. Copy that equation until you get to y, and then replace it with what's in here. Do I need the 0, Hardy? Not really. I just was doing it for consistency's sake. Just the negative 4 is distributing, not combining stuff yet. Same side, same team. Put them together. Get my x. Take that. Come back up here. Y equals negative 2 times 4. Y is negative 8. Have I mentioned already that the quiz is shorter than this? Okay. Just making sure. Just getting that out there. Okay, last thing. Oh, no, Hardy, not the applications. Okay, good news. All of your applications are going to be the same as what we were doing in the other reviews. In other words, they're not going to be all over the place. You're going to be given the direct equations for both of these. All you have to do is come up with variables to be able to explain to me which one is which. So like here, I got grass, I got shrubs. So I got G for grass, I got S for shrubs. And seriously, the equation is given to you. 6 square meters of grass. It does not mean square, it doesn't mean square the 6. So we got 6 grass and 7 shrubs is 91. If you want to put the 91 at the beginning, you can. Daniel, $119, 12 grass, 5 shrubs. And now I just got to solve it. Do they add straight down? Nope. Can I multiply 6 by something to get 12? Darn tootin' I can. -2. All the way through. And even if you forget this part and just write me the equation, you're getting points for it. So at least know how to make the equation because it's right there. By G's. And divide by -9. $7 per shrub. Let me know that you understand what you're labeling. Because it says, what's the cost? So I'm talking about money. And then again, go back to either one of your original equations. It doesn't matter which one. This one's convenient, so I'm going to use it. 12G plus 5S. Oh, I write way too big. I know I say that so much, but it's true, I do. Minus the 35. Divide, well, hey, they're the same price. Isn't that convenient? And I'm set. So one more, because the last two are kind of the same. So I'm only going to bust out with one of these. So, all right, find those sentences with numbers. Sentences with numbers. Okay, we got us some vans. We got us some buses. Right there. 10 vans, 7 buses, 590 students. 3 vans, 14 buses, 891 students. Can I add straight down? Nope. 3 times something get me to 10? Nope. 7 times something get me to 14? Absolutely. And again, positive 14, I need this to be negative 14. So we're going to do a little negative there. You see where we're going with this. I think I'm going to have to bust out a calculator myself here. Yeah, let's do that. 1180 minus -289. Divide by -17. We get 17. Okay, again, students per van. It's not 17 vans. I know a lot of our labels seem to end up that way, but again, read through. It says right there, how many students? You got to do a little bit of critical thinking here. So there's our first answer. Now we're going to get our second one from here. 3V plus 14B is 891. I was going to say, these buses better hold more than the van or this is a problem. Okay. That's just me. That's a really big bus. Okay. If you want to do the last one to check, you've got 17 as an example. I've got the key on Classroom. You can check that out there. But we're done in under half an hour and your quiz is shorter. So if you've done your due diligence, you're going to do great. Bring any other questions. We'll see you later.